Chapter 36. Su Fengnian really picked up the martial arts that he used to despise the most. But before he learned the sword, he learned the knife first. Of course, he learned from the white-haired old man. The old man was about to leave the Wang mansion to wander the Jianghu. He had long been itching for a fight with the top 10 masters who squatted in the latrine but did not shit much. He wanted to fight with the last 9 masters before he went to fight with the old man Wang. The old man hated this old man the most. If he was the best in the world, then he was the best. Why was he pretending to be the second best? How hateful! The old man, who was gnawing on a lamb leg, heard that Su Fengnian wanted to learn the knife from him. He laughed wildly and spat out a mouthful of lamb shredded on the ground. The old man saw that His Royal Highness did not seem to be joking. He threw away the lamb leg and stroked the scarlet knife he had asked a master to hook into his shoulder blade with his oily hand. He asked, "Why should Grandpa teach you?" Su Fengnian replied, "I asked Su Xiao to invite Wei Beishan, who used the Zamadeo, to Bailiang to spar with you. From now on, we will meet once a year until I learn the knife." The old man praised him for his generosity. He looked up at Su Fengnian and asked with a strange smile, "Boy, tell Grandpa why you want to learn the knife. Are the 300,000 strong cavalry in Bailiang not enough for you to show off?" Su Fengnian pulled out Xiaodong and flicked it with his fingers. He grinned and said, "Those people's knives and spears belong to others. I also want to find one that is convenient for me." The old man curled his lips and did not comment. He only asked Su Fengnian to lift Xiaodong with one arm and stand for an hour. The knife could not be tilted. Otherwise, even if old man Wang was invited, he would not accept this cheap disciple. In the end, Su Fengnian held on for an hour and fainted on the spot. Xiaodong did not tilt at all. To be precise, it did not even tremble. The old man stared blankly at His Royal Highness. He walked over and pinched the boy's stiff right arm. He clicked his tongue and said, "I found a treasure." After that, old Kuei didn't teach Su Fengnian any profound moves. He only made him repeat 4 boring movements: straight stab, diagonal slash, vertical chop, and back sweep. Stab 3,000, lift 3,000, hack 4,000, sweep 4,000. The old man thought that Su Fengnian, who was used to eating and drinking, would at least ask a few questions. However, Su Fengnian did not. Every day, he would go to the secluded courtyard at dawn to practice his knife. Every night, he would stagger away. Xiaodong did not leave him for even a moment. This made the old man very depressed. At the same time, he was curious. Su Fengnian showed not only his willpower but also his solid foundation in holding the knife. Could it be that His Royal Highness had been carefully trained by a military general? Did he learn the military's fierce knife for self-defense? During this period of time, he deliberately made things difficult for Su Fengnian to practice holding the knife. Half of it was to let the boy know that there was no shortcut in knife skills in the world. The other half was sincere. The first thing to practice the knife was to hold the knife. If one could not even hold the knife, then it was not using the knife but being dragged by the knife. Even if one had a lot of peerless knife manuals, they could only play some seemingly fancy moves. Once they were faced with an enemy, only death would await them. The first day to practice the knife was the Great Summer. After the Great Summer came the beginning of autumn. From beginning to end, Su Fengnian practiced his saber with his upper body bare. His soft and smooth skin, which had been nourished with great difficulty, was tanned into a bronze color. He was even more robust. If he had some scars, he would be no different from a soldier. However, his knife skills were far from being mainstream. After the white dew and the cold dew, there was frost. The sweep of 4,000 became the sweep of 6,000. Su Fengnian finally asked the first question. The knife is the courage of 100 soldiers. It is open and closed. It emphasizes that although there are thousands of soldiers and tens of thousands of horses, this sweep of back is to withdraw the knife skills. Why do I have to practice more? The old man smiled and said, "There are too many knife men in the world who are not afraid of death. However, the knife men who are not afraid of death are the easiest to die. The most powerful sweep of back in the world cannot escape the sweep of back. How can there be a good knife skill that takes the life of anyone with the knife?" Grandpa's great principles were all thought up on my way back from wandering outside the palace of the King of Hell. Learn from it. There were mountains of knife skills and knife manuals in the armory. However, from the first day Su Fengnian practiced the knife, he He did not set foot in the tide-listening pavilion, which was regarded as the holy land of martial arts by the martial artists of Zhenghu. The old man was very gratified by this. The path of knife skills was not like the way of heaven that the child martial granduncle of Wudong Mountain practiced. The most important thing was that dripping water could penetrate a rock. As for how to choose the heart sutras to complement each other and cultivate both internal and external, the old man was not worried about this. The butcher Su Xiao had a lot of crooked ways. The problem was, how long could His Royal Highness last until that day? After Li Dong, until the great winter, even if the surface of the lake froze, Su Fengnian would be brought to the bottom of the lake by the old man to practice his knife skills. The time he spent holding his breath became longer and longer. His knife skills had not reached a higher level, but he had developed water skills first. Recently, a few bands of roaming bandits had appeared outside the city, clamoring and causing trouble right under the eyes of the Great Pillar State. This was simply provoking the Almighty. However, there were rumors in the city that these bands of bandits were not trampled into meat paste by the Bailiang cavalry. Instead, they were slaughtered by a machete man wearing a ferocious mask.